Hey everyone, it's been a real busy week for me. Last weekend my dad came up and we did all this drywall, tore the shop up completely, and when we put it back together, I found some improvements that I made to the layout. I showed those in the last video. I'll put that in a bubble somewhere up here if you want to go check that out. While you were away, I did a couple projects that I did not film. I'm just starting to get to work on some French cleat fixtures, things to hold my tools. The idea is that my pegboard, I'm just trying to get everything on that pegboard, have a tool holder built for it, and as soon as I can get everything off the pegboard, then I can take it down and I can put a French cleat wall up over there. And so, real simple, but I put a lot of thought into it. I mean, these screwdrivers, they nestle in there real good, and they won't wobble around. So yeah, I just put a fair amount of thought into that, and it's really satisfying. So that's the first thing I did, and then I built this one for my skill saw, and so let's see, I've got it back here. So yeah, this just once that's hanging on the wall, that goes in there, and I put it at a fairly severe angle here, so it would have a tendency to tip out, especially if you've got the battery in. So I put a couple little catches here. It doesn't actually need them. The balance is in favor of it staying in place, but just, felt better by doing that. So, really what I'm going to be doing for the next several weeks is just working on these kinds of fixtures, and it's just a lot of fun. I'll try to take you along on some of them. As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to start work on a cordless screwdriver shelf that I think is going to be really cool. My plan is for it to straddle a spot in the French cleat wall that has an outlet, and then hide that outlet and hide all of the cords from the chargers. Anyway, I've got some pretty cool ideas. I'm going to probably kick that off, and so I'll take you along on that one with me. So this is new. I love this so much. Just a couple screwdrivers, pencil, marker, tape measure are always with me. I think it's awesome. So if you think it's silly, don't knock it. It's an awesome thing. So I'm going to go ahead and break down some 1/2-inch plywood. And I've got some rough ideas of what I'm doing here. I did do a SketchUp drawing, as I usually do. Boy. I've been watching a whole lot of Adam Savage's one-day builds. Adam Savage in general on YouTube is amazing. I love Adam Savage. The stuff he's doing right now is so much cooler than Mythbusters ever was. I need my roller stands. Still trying to find things in my shop with this new layout. But I tell you what, it's been really good to get some projects going and just get a feel for everything, where everything is. Do I like it? It's been kind of fun. I don't think I really even needed this stand, but I really don't like being caught unawares while using the table saw. So there is a slight advantage to doing it, then I will. Alright, so I've got my 2 chargers here, and I want them to be trapped in a fairly high little fence here to keep them nice and stable. We need to have room for the cord to run along the back here and probably down into a hole, and I'll have all of the cord managed beneath that. So we need, this is left over from one of my previous builds, and something like this, 3/4 inch fence. In fact, I'll probably use this and I'll just cut some more, and we'll start tacking that fence on And that's all there is to it. Like I said, I've got a plan, but that plan's going to fall apart real soon. If, for instance, I didn't think about the fact that I needed a little bit of clearance for this cord, so my SketchUp drawing is wrong. But I mean, the SketchUp drawing did its job. It got me thinking through all the possibilities, and then I'll adjust as I go from there. So we're going to come over here to where I've got some more leftover scrap 3/4 from earlier, and I'm just going to rip that into some strips to be used to fence in these battery chargers. So, since it's going to be easiest to do it now, I'm going to go ahead and get all of these saw blade marks, witness marks, whatever you want to call them, off. Another thing that I've done in this new layout is I've just put the common things that I do at this workbench just right here, plugged in, ready to go. I've got a pin nailer plugged in, ready to go. I'd have to turn on the air compressor. If I'm going to spend all day in the shop, I'll just turn that on in the morning. And you know, gluing supplies, and oh, this is a big one. Instead of having a big clamp wall over there, which I still do need to have for the larger clamps, I just use the end of this outfeed bench. I never rarely cut things longer than the outfeed bench, and so this allows me to really quickly just grab a clamp for a glue up. I'm loving it. This is kind of the heart and soul right here. Let's start taking a look at what it takes to get this in here. Oh, you know, I really don't need the, see, this is cool, the cord comes out above the fence, and so I was wrong again about that. So I can just kind of trap this directly in here, just right there. Let's go ahead and cut this off. We know we don't need it to go that far. I realized as I was doing it last time, chopping off this excess with the miter saw was not easier than just grabbing a much better tool from the shop. Unfortunately, they're not quite the same, so I can't batch cut these, but I'm gonna head over to the miter saw and cut it intentionally proud, and then I'll just sneak up on it. That's the way I do it. It's a good thing I was trying to sneak up on it because I nailed it. Imagine what had happened if I was trying to do. I just got this glue dispenser. It's, you know, the one you see everybody using, and pretty happy with it, but it's still, you don't clear the glue when you're done, it can still get gunked up. Alright, back over the table saw real quick, and I'm going to clean this edge up and we're going to move on. Alright, it's looking good. We need a hole for the cord management, and what I'm going to do, just to make this easy on myself, is get a mark dead center over here. I'll show you why. So I made a pretty big improvement to my drill press over the week, and oh man, I just love this. So I built a fence here. This is all bolted to the table. So I've got a fence and a table, and this table has a very neatly scribed line that follows all the way up to the top of the fence to let you know exactly where that drill bit is going to hit. And I love it. I love it. Let me put you on the stand here, and I'll get this hole drilled. All right. We'll see how this footage works out. I'm really kind of going for a low edit thing. How much of a bet I edit that out, though. Hole is going to have to be big enough to get the plug through. That does not look like it's going to do it. So 1 1/4 will definitely do it. It might be overkill. 1 1/8. I'm going to go 1 1/4. I thought about putting some fancy Rockler, you know, screw down things in there or something, but I'm really liking how easy it is just to pop those spring clamps on and off. And I'm thinking that's good enough. I think I'm going to leave it that way. All right, just for good measure, let's secure this whole thing. That's nice and neat. And then down here underneath, I'll have a little compartment that'll hide those. That's the idea. I don't know how necessary the compartment is. I might just zip tie them underneath there and call that good enough. So let's grab this. That'll work. That'll work. I have to rip it down just a bit. Good. I'm going to cut an angle here and get us the sides of this thing. I'll take you with me over to the table saw. This is going to involve a real quick temporary jig. All right, I'm grabbing my favorite piece of scrap plywood, and I happen to know that this is true to the blade. It's square. So I'm going to get that going there. Now, what I want to do is measure 8 inches here. This apron only really works if once you take something out of your pocket, put it back. All right, I said I wanted it to be about 8 inches. So right about there. And I'm gonna make a line following that. You can't see me doing this. There you go. And then just line that up here. All right. A couple of blocks. I would love to have a jig that I could use for this, and I'm sure that very soon I will. Eventually. Alright. Happy with that. This is not a precise, deal here, so I'm going to cut this off before I do that so I don't have to deal with all of this, and that's just easier and safer. There we go. I like the feel of that a lot better. I did account for, by the way, the curve. So this should give me 2 identical pieces. Close enough. All right, it's really hard to get clamping pressure on these joints, and so I'm going to allow the pins to do that job for me, but I'm going to have to let this dry for a bit, so we'll see in a bit. So off camera, I went ahead and grabbed this and brought it over here to the French cleat tool wall just to see how things were fitting and how I was feeling about it. Noticed a couple of issues, nothing huge, not a big deal, but one thing, this is really tight and really close to the wall, which makes it a little bit difficult to get these batteries out. Not that big a deal. So, I mean, you just have to, and I'm doing it one-handed right now, which is a little harder. But yeah, that's unfortunate. I wish I had left it a little further out from the wall, but I can deal with it. I can handle it. The other thing I noticed was that I measured this wrong. I wanted this to be 8 inches, but from the top of the French cleat, not the way it worked out here. And so that means that this is not coming into contact with the cleat down here. That makes it a little less stable than I'd like. So what I'm probably going to do is add a 1/4 inch to this right here. Now, I can't just add a 1/4 inch strip across the bottom because it'll hit the outlet, and this particular fixture will always be straddling an outlet. That's kind of the whole point. So I'll work that out. That's not a big deal. And then other than that, I need to add a couple of holders here for drills. I'll probably do that in a separate video. I want to wrap this one up, but let's go ahead and get this sanded and oiled so that I can declare victory on one more tool migration to the French cleats tool wall. I spared you some sanding. I did a little off camera because that's really boring. It's boring to do. It can't be any more entertaining to watch than it is to do. But this is done. It's good to go. We're going to put some oil linseed oil on it. That's what I'm doing with the shop fixtures. and I don't see any reason to change. Yeah, so I'm really liking the improvements I've made to the layout here, keeping me more anchored to this bench. And there's still improvements to be made, but oh, you know what? I don't have my apron on. I'm just going to put it on. All right, now I got my screwdriver. Now don't worry about getting oil on my workbench. It's good for it, if anything. All right. I kind of like the way the end grain on the plywood soaks up the oil and accents the difference in the plies.